I saw a body cam video today that had such a weird story to it that I just found myself on the edge of my seat. And it's not because it was some kind of high-octane pursuit or anything. It wasn't like Dukes of Hazzard style or, them chasing someone who's ramping their car off of a parked tow truck as like rockets fly out of the top or anything. It wasn't exactly a spectacle. In fact, on paper, it's probably one of the most boring things you could imagine for a body cam video. They pull over a man on his bike because he didn't have a rear reflector. Like, that's not exactly like, jaw on the floor, like biting at your fingernails type action or anything. That's about as exciting as trying to arrest someone for forgetting their library card, right? But this was just the first domino to fall that led to a crazy story that ultimately concludes with everyone learning that the guy on the bike is actually a fugitive who's been on the run for almost 30 years, a convicted rapist who escaped and fell off the grid, and now they've found him because of his bike not having a rear reflector.
You gotta have a rear reflector on your bike, my man, if you're gonna ride on the roadway. So, what's up?
Oh, okay.
So, and then if you're gonna ride at night, you need a front light. I'm sure you know that, but you got an idea on you real quick, just so I can say a stop to talk with you?
With me.
Okay. Can I get your,
Greg Stallings.
Greg Stallings is your name?
Gregory.
Okay.
Introducing the man formerly known as Gregory Stallings. We'll soon learn that this is just an alias, an Xbox Live gamer tag. Now, it's not hard to fake a name, anyone can do that. I could go around calling myself Jerichomo Double Chin, but I don't have an ID to prove it, though, if you're, confident enough with what you're saying, a lot of people will just believe you. So, he'd been able to get by going by Gregory Stallings, and even had a social security number to give the officer.
I think I wrote something down wrong. What's your full social? Perfect. Yep, hang tight for me. Gregory, I'm still not getting that back. Are you sure that's right?
Pretty sure. I've been a long time since I had to look.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the social didn't turn up anything either. It's very easy to make up numbers. You can make up a social as well just by spouting some random fucking numbers. However, you'll soon learn that he's not just making up information. It's actually much deeper than that.
If you're riding your bike and someone rear ends you,
Oh, yeah.
and then they can kind of
They
point the
didn't
blame
see no
because the
sticker.
reflector.
Yeah.
And I hate that because it's like, no, it's
I understand that.
copy. Can we try a soch? And I'm also with our traffic unit, so I do all our accident investigations.
Okay.
So whenever bikes are involved, it almost always is way worse than.
Yes, it usually hits you from behind.
Yep.
Now, when I first saw the headline to this story, I wondered, how common is it for officers to even bother pulling over someone on a bike for something as simple as this? To me, that just sounded like fishing for an arrest to meet like a quota or something where you get like a nice gold star for an additional arrest on something small. Because it sounds very simple, right? It just sounds like something they wouldn't even take the time out of their day to do. It'd be like if the cops started chasing you down and fucking pit maneuvered you on the way to the grocery store, guns blazing, "Get the fuck out of the car! We saw that you put the Hatsune Miku box in the garbage instead of the recycling. You're out of line!" Just something like really simple. But when the officer explains it, it makes a lot more sense. So he explains that he doesn't arrest people for this. He just pulls them aside, lets them know, like, hey, you should have the rear reflector on because if a car hits you, they could point the blame on you for not having it. It's just safer if you do have it. And he just explains that it's really just him letting them know and nothing beyond that. But he still has to go through standard protocol of confirming that the person is who they say they are, which I think makes total sense.
But I haven't had a driver's license in years. I haven't.
Copy. Can you try running him through Florida? How long have you been living up here then? Just think of what state. I can get you through any state, even if it's really old. So I know it's been a while. Just
Yeah,
try to
long
think.
time.
Yeah, try to think for me.
Sorry, I can't help you, dude. I'm sorry.
Where else have you lived? Have you ever had any other run-ins with any law enforcement for us? No?
They've reached a standstill here, so he has no identification, and the information he's providing isn't turning up any results. They then try and run him through Florida, because he had made a mention of Florida. I feel like you could also run anyone by Florida, and you'll find something fucking crazy. You'll probably find, like, Gregory Stallings was actually, like, a Florida conquistador who drank from the fountain of youth and now currently resides at Clearwater, right next to the Scientology church or something. Like, I thought once he said Florida, his goose was cooked, they'd find something, but they didn't. So now they're still just trying to figure out, okay, how can we confirm that you are who you say you are, and it's not really getting anywhere. He also then told them a story about how he got hit by a car, so his memory's a little foggy.
I'm just going to take your word for it, okay?
Okay, thank
All right.
you.
Yep.
Cool.
I don't shake hands, sorry.
Okay.
Yep, you're good. Drive safe.
The officer eventually just says, you know what, fuck it, we'll take you at your word for it, and he offers a handshake, which is immediately declined. I honestly, when he said I don't shake hands, I honestly thought the officer might go with like a, but I do high five, and he goes like, down low, too slow, walks away, puts on his fucking shades or something. So, even though Gregory Stallings has successfully de-aggroed the cop here, he's now outside of the dialogue trees, the officer still wants to get to the bottom of this because it is very odd that none of the information he provided turned up any results.
So what we're going to do for now while I keep investigating this is I'm going to take a picture of you and send it to our guy who has facial rec. So you pull your hat off and your glasses off. So, and both the socials you gave me come back to other people. One of them's deceased, the other one's a lady, so I don't think either of those are you.
No.
We have technology, so he's using facial recognition now to try and figure out who this John Doe is. So he takes a picture of him, gets him to pose like it's for some kind of fucking high school yearbook photo, sends it to the facial rec team, and then he's also informing the man that actually the information he provided with the socials goes to different people. One of them's dead and the other one is a woman. So now things are getting even more suspicious. He does keep reiterating that he doesn't want to arrest this guy, but he just needs to confirm his identity, so just do his best to remember the accurate information so they can both get on with their day.
You don't think you got warrants or anything, do you?
As far as I know, I don't.
Okay. Well, have you committed any crimes?
And
Well, besides...
no.
Yeah?
No. I'm not out trying to outrun the cops on my bike.
Okay. All right, brother. Time to be honest with me, okay? So the info you give me comes back to a dead guy. Gregory Stallings is dead.
And the associate, right?
And the Soch, yeah.
That he gave?
Yeah.
2-6.
So who are you? You're Gregory, you're just not dead?
I'm not dead.
Yeah.
Dead.
They're getting pretty confident that something smells fishy here. There's something awry, so they confront him saying, look, Gregory Stallings is dead. Imagine if that guy was just then like, dead? He just starts profusely crying, no! How did this happen? And then all of a sudden he just starts like fading away like a Thanos snap or something. He was actually just like a spirit that was tethered to this world, didn't know that he died. But anyway, regardless, they're telling him like, look, this is fucked up now. We know that there's something definitely afoot. What's going on? Just tell us the real information here. But he's sticking to his guns, saying that, no, he is Gregory Stallings, and it might just be a misunderstanding because he's been kind of off the grid for so long.
Could it just because I haven't been on anything for a long, long time?
They don't just declare people deceased because they haven't heard from them in a little bit.
Okay, I'm just...
Did anyone come back with the facial rec or nobody?
No, no hits.
No hits?
No hits.
I said 2000 was the year of the death. Did you go missing in that year? Did you?
Someone report you missing and then they just
I
declare
don't
you.
know. I don't talk to my people in a long, 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 long time.
Not even Big Brother was able to nail him. Facial recognition came up nothing, empty-handed. So they're back in the field with nothing but their words to fight this battle and figure out who the fuck is this mystery man here. They then start speculating maybe it's a big misunderstanding and he perhaps went missing in the year 2000 when Gregory Stallings was pronounced deceased. Like maybe this is a fucking Hey Arnold Dino Spumoni moment where he faked his own death and he's still just out here. So they ask him, did you go missing? And he's like, well, no, I haven't talked to anyone in a really long time.
During the officer's phone call, he turns off his body cam, and it cuts back into them somehow discovering the fact that he is a convicted rapist on the run for the last 30 years.
I get it, brother. I mean, I see both of it, and I understand it. Yo, none of us are mad at you. I'm just baffled that law enforcement has let you go for 30 years and not push the issue.
They cut out the part where they discover the truth. Like, that is literally removing the climax of this whole situation. It'd be like watching a Sherlock Holmes film and they take out the part where they piece everything together to get the conclusion. That's so fucking stupid. What? So apparently, they somehow were able to figure out that this guy is not Gregory Stallings. Instead, He's this convicted rapist from the 80s who escaped in 1995 and has been on the run ever since. That's like a crazy amount of like breadcrumbs to put together, and they don't tell you exactly how that came about. That's fucked up. Like, I've said this for a long time. I think it is so fucking dumb that officers can willy-nilly turn on and off their body cam whenever they want. That, to me, defeats, like, the whole purpose of the body cam if you can just turn it off at will. You read about that all the time in cases of, like, really fucking awful situations, and then mysteriously the body cam was turned off, or the body cam just happened to be turned off at that point. Like, it's so dumb. There should be protocol in place to prevent that from happening.
But then eventually VC showed up. VC said, hey man, cut the shit. Tell us your real name. He just told him his real name. Said that like 6 times.
This is the only information I could find about how they got to the bottom of it. So VC showed up, just said, cut the shit, and the guy just forked over all the information, I guess. Just vomited out all the truth. So maybe it wasn't like a really elaborate investigation that led to them discovering this. I think it was just this guy showed up looking all hard-boiled and shit and just pressed him saying, like, we know you're lying, just tell us your real name and everything. And then the guy did.
Can you go to the bait shop, buy me a pack for $4.52?
I am really inclined to do that because you were honest with us. So what kind do you want?
The Crown Menthol 100.
I'm not going to remember that. Crown Menthol 100.
Yeah, just the cheapest, asking for the cheapest menthol they got.
I'll
Book matches, too. I don't even have a light. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's old.
I do need a cigarette.
You have a light though?
No, that's why I'm telling them to give me a book of matches.
Okay, alright, just making sure.
Matches too.
Book of matches.
They're acting like best pals now. He even sends the officer grocery shopping for him to get cigarettes. I don't understand. He's like, yeah, you know what, I'm inclined to do that because you were honest with us. So he's rewarding him with like a fucking lollipop here, giving him the cigarettes. Maybe that was the deal they made, like, hey, look, pal, we know you're lying, and I'll go get you some cigarettes if you just tell us your real information. He's like, alright, bet, and then did so. It's also so weird how friendly they're being with this guy. They even in sync said book of matches together like some shit out of a buddy cop movie. But he's a convicted rapist. I've seen so many body cam videos where they're being unreasonably aggressive to people that are being cooperative and not rapists. Like, people that are, you know, getting busted on, like, super simple drug charges or something. They're like, you're the scum of the fucking earth. Listen, pal, you're lucky I don't run your fucking head on the pavement right now and curb stomp the shit out of you. And meanwhile, this guy, who's a rapist who escaped from a halfway house 30 years ago, they're like, yes, you want those cigarettes? Yeah, we can do that for you. But anyway, looking deeper into the George Hartleroad case, that's this guy's real name. He is not Greg Stallings. Huge twist. He is George Hartleroad. And he was convicted of rape in 1983. And in 1994, he escaped from a halfway house, and he's been on the run ever since.
They're going to, oh, we got him again. Oh, we caught him, we caught him.
You're not everything.
No,
everything you said today has been 100% correct. I can't be mad about any of it because you've been 100% correct. Other than the name, other than the dead guy's name.
I didn't even know the guy was dead.
Yeah, now you're gonna find someone else in 95.
Yeah, he died like 5 years later. He did not last very long.
He did.
So you better find someone else.
Well, that'd be easy. Don't worry.
That'd be easy.
There was a brief moment during this where they weren't sure if they were supposed to arrest him, like if the state would still want him after all of this time. And eventually they concluded that, yeah, the state does still want him. And then they explained that he's going to need to take someone else's identity because the one he was using's been dead for so long. I think they were just joking about that. I don't think they're actually giving him, like, pro tips or anything on how to take someone else's identity. But he says it's easy to do that. So Greg Stallings was a real person. And apparently, George Hartleroad is pretty familiar with how to get that kind of information. Apparently, you can just get that at some homeless shelters. The other officer mentions that he was surprised he didn't just take it from someone's mailbox and piece it together that way. But then George explains that that'd be deeper shit because that's a much harder thing to do, or a more dangerous thing to do. So it turns out he wasn't just pulling names and numbers out of his asshole, he actually did have that information, which probably explains how he'd been able to get by for the last 30 years when needing to provide information for certain things. So it wasn't just an imaginary friend that he made up.
I will jump again as soon as they turn me loose.
You know, every time...
No, guys, they've been pumping my ass. for
Yeah.
30, 41 years now.
Yeah.
On a 9-year sentence.
Every time I think I kind of got an idea of what's going on, stuff like this, just like you could buy IDs at homeless shelters, and would never have thought.
He talks about his ass being pumped, and then even makes like a quick villain monologue about how he will jump again. Like, you know, now he's going full mask off here. So they've got him, they arrested him, and it looks like he will be facing some punishment for the last 30 or so years after escaping.
I knew they'd want me. Well, I worked in their office at one time, and I'm the one that posted all the flyers in the thing at one time for them.
That's pretty much the end of the encounter. They then, shortly after that, put him into the car, and he just gives that last maniacal laughter, the mwahaha. He hits him with like that classic villain laugh. Like he looks like a wizard, and it seems like something Saruman would have done once the plan started coming together. Like he actually hits them with like an evil laugh at the very end there. So yeah, I saw this earlier today and just wanted to talk about it because it was just so interesting to me. That's really about it. So yeah.